order. Regular city council meeting and public hearing for March 10th, 2015 at 6:31 p.m. We seem to have a fairly full house tonight, so I would appreciate it if you would be quiet and maintain some order. With that said, we do roll call.
Joy Porter. Yeah. Gary Ventris.
Here.
Diane Bird. Here. With Autumn Massender absent.
And if you would stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first thing on the agenda is the minutes from the regular council meeting and public hearing last month. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next thing on the agenda is the accounts payable. Financial statement. Okay.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills. Second.
Roll call vote.
Joy? Yeah. Gary?
Aye.
Diane? Aye.
Next thing on the agenda is the public hearing for the developmental fee increase. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to enter the public hearing portion of the meeting. I'll make a motion to enter the public hearing.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Courtney, did anybody sign in to speak about the developmental fee?
No, they did not. If nobody's interested in speaking, I make a motion to close this special meeting.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is resolution 15-3-10. Be it hereby resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Spirit Lake that the following development fee schedule has been hereby adopted at a regular meeting of the Spirit Lake City Council held at City Hall on March 3rd, 2015. Fees established by this resolution are authorized by the City of Spirit Lake zoning ordinance and subdivision ordinance. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 15-3-10.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Joy? Yep. Gary?
Aye.
Diane? Pat?
Next thing on the agenda is the lease agreement with Idaho Department of Fish and Game for the rec center rental facility. Did everybody get a chance to look through that and read it?
Who typed this up? Who actually typed this up?
Did you type this up or did Jody? Jody typed it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
No. I did not.
Missed it.
I did. I figured Fish and Game did it.
She did exactly the one from last time. It's basically the exact same agreement. The only thing that changed is we agreed to pay for the street lighting at the facility.
Under the maintenance bills, the tenant will have a slow expense fee. No.
Yeah, we definitely want a slow experience. The last agreement said that we had to do a certain number of repairs to the building, which have all been done. This agreement says that we need to pay the street light charges and maintain the building in the shape that we got it into. So the biggest difference is that this is 18-year lease.
No, I would just if you will. I'll show you when you're doing it.
Yeah, we need to fix those.
For the attorney's side. No, it's awesome we did a 10-year lease on that building. Really, basically, we're paying the light bills and maintaining it.
So, I guess I would entertain a motion to allow me to sign the lease agreement as Idaho Fish and Game.
I will make a motion that we enter into a lease agreement with the Idaho Fish and Game Department on the 10th day of March 2015 for rental of the lease of the rec center.
And roll call vote.
Joy? Yep. Gary?
Aye.
Diane? Aye.
Okay, next thing on the agenda was open for discussion on the property that was that's part of the Simon properties. He came up with a price and brought it to us at the last meeting, and we kind of gave council some time to think about it. We just put it on the agenda in case you guys wanted to have any discussion or see what your thoughts were. If you want to pursue the property or make an offer on it, or just table it for now, or what we want to do.
I would really prefer to take it for now. I don't think it's an immediate issue. I think we have other options we can pursue, and I'd like to get a couple of other options.
Here with, now, table it with also pursuing.
I just like to look at a couple of other options, but I would like to table discussion.
Oh, discussing, oh, just a discussion. If it is something, keep the options open,
Oh, absolutely.
go further into it.
Well, that was just my,
I-
talk about it, Brian.
You know, I just wanted to make sure that, I think it's something we still should pursue.
Oh, absolutely.
And on the property, up on the.
I know what you're
Oh,
talking about, I
that's
don't know
right
what
there.
you're saying.
On the property, on the hill to keep communication going on interest. As we have one of our other options come up, we keep going from that. That's where he's at.
No.
I
That's not
I
even
agree
on-
with that.
that's not even on the
What he's
table for
asking,
discussion.
we're talking about both.
Yeah. It's certainly something we're gonna keep our options open on, but I.
That's really all it was, just to clean it up again and have some discussion.
I think what he's at.
Joy, did you have anything to add to the conversation, or any thoughts about that over there?
I'm in favor of holding off on, keeping the options open, but not that kind of thing.
Well, I'm agreement on that.
Okay. So any time frame you guys want to bring it back up, or do you just want to wait and see what he does, or?
Let's see what he brings to the table. He brought
It's not like he's not coming to the table, because he's working his way into
At some point in time.
doing
it's
some
gonna happen.
development down there.
At some point in time, it's going to happen.
At some point in time.
And
he's
for
gonna
us
be
at
in
this current,
contact.
and for us at this current time, it's not an immediate thing for us. We don't have to make a decision immediately because we have more profit.
We
So,
presented what our on the table to him. So.
Okay. All right, next thing on the agenda is the council request. The first request is Spirit Lake Visions for the annual street closures and use of the city parks.
On these
Starting second. All in favor?
I love that we get the request in so early, it's just all kind of awesome.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is the request from Dan Wood for code to phase 3. Jump right up here and speak to us. Let's clarify things right off the bat. The codes and the covenances on properties are not anything to do with the city. They are homeowner organized and they are homeowner enforced, which puts them into a civil statute and a civil.
In essence, where we're headed with this.
But because this impacted a lot of people and there was a lot of concern about it, I agreed to let you come to council, explain to them what's going on.
And what I've said right off the bat, this has nothing to do with you guys have done nothing wrong. But, to the same point, we came into what is considered an equitable agreement, according to lawyers and a couple of these people have spoken to. An equitable agreement in law is basically, you agree to this, I agree to it, we all agree to it. When somebody breaks it, we have to go through the civil system, and that's what we're doing right now. But in the future, because basically this is a picture they pull off the internet. This is everybody's daymare, right? This is what we don't want, right? And I have no doubt that this is going to be a nice mobile home. That's fine and dandy. The point is, the covenants say no mobile homes. So in the future, if you know that these people are going to harp on you and give you the stink eye when they drive by your house and just continue to harp on you because you allow them to check the box that says trailer on a building permit in a zoning area that you know has covenants that say no trailers, then we need to address it. We need to get it out in the open that this is what we need to do. These people, I didn't understand it until I started talking to everybody. A lot of these people have a lot invested in their homes. Me, it's a house, and other people, it's a life thing. And if this happens, it hurts people. And so you are representative of these people, so you should be aware, and you should take it in consideration when somebody comes here and says, I want an application for a building, and check that, you go, did you know back there's 30-some families that are really going to be peeved off at you, and they're going to bring this up, and maybe this won't happen again. Because like I said, what I'm seeing from everybody that I've talked to in the legal system, we can stop it. It's just a matter of some money. And that's fine and dandy, that's what we're going to do. But I want you guys to be aware of it, and I don't want these guys to be mad at you per se because you're doing your job, I understand that. But you should also be aware that these people are your voting public, they're also, your community. So we need to be aware of it and take care of it because obviously we're concerned.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Obviously, most of the people here are my neighbors, so when you're concerned, I'm concerned. The other thing that we have is we have strict zoning rules and requirements, and those are city codes
I understand.
that are that's what we have to follow when we're approving and disapproving things like that. It is the city codes, and the covenants are a private thing.
Equitable agreement, in the legal definition, that's what it is everybody gets the same agreement, and we decide, people that pick up that paper say, okay, I've got these. When they pick them up, they say, no, I don't want to buy this house because I want a trailer beside me, I want a house without a detached garage. Then that's fine. If you don't want to do that, then you don't buy said property. And it's a handshake agreement, basically, and that's why it's going to be a pain in the butt to take it through the court system. Well, no, I know, and it's called a commitments package. Everyone receives it.
Are they given that covenants before they purchase the property?
They are given with the title. And that's from the title
Are they
company.
given it before they purchase the property?
Yes,
Yes.
the title company. And everyone's still receiving the same exact. This couple right here bought the lot next to the house next to this lot. They were, hey, I got this covenant that says I'm going to have, this type of building near me. They find out that, hey, there's somebody putting in, are they going to fight it? Probably. Are they going to win? Probably. Is it a pain in the butt? For sure. So why does it need to go there? Like I said, if you guys got a little box back there that's checked that says trailer, when that happens, you say, okay, just so you know, did you sign the covenants? Because you're aware of it now. And that makes you culpable the next time this comes up, because you're aware of it. It's not liable,
But
but
it is not the city's job to enforce
is
your
not.
covenant.
it is not.
So you cannot say that we're liable for it.
I didn't.
We
I
don't
said
know
you're
what
culpable. I
we
said
are.
you're
No,
understanding.
you said we're liable if you.
No, I didn't.
Mark said.
I said culpable, you understand that this exists, and whether you did before or
Do you
not.
have boundaries? Do you have maps that tells us exactly?
It
what
does.
it is?
Yes.
It says
Okay,
Main Street.
are there signs up there that say police edition second?
Yes.
Yes.
I drove around there today, and didn't see any signs that said first
I have
edition,
a,
second edition, third edition.
I have a copy of it at home, I will bring it up here tomorrow.
Yeah, but it is, like I said, it's, and I'm not saying you're liable, that's what I'm saying, but in the future, because, I don't want to do this every time somebody buys a lot. We don't have an architectural board, we're not, these are very minimal CCNRs. And I don't want, and we talked about forming a homeowner association, we don't want that because it's time consuming. We all got lives. But to the same point, you guys are now aware of it, so we would appreciate it as your citizens. We would appreciate it if somebody comes in and say, hey, they just went through this, or they just did this 5 years ago, because as it travels through time. No, or you don't say no, just say, be prepared, or this is this.
I mean, we, as a city, we can't deny it.
I understand that.
That's
No,
not
sir.
our responsibility.
They buy the property, they sign the covenants, as we can't deny them as long as it fits in our zoning rules.
Yeah, but in your zoning rules,
But we could
You don't
say
have-
something like, I think there's a covenants on that property.
exactly, and that's what
But
we're looking for.
there's no legal binding to it.
And I didn't say there was, and like I said, I talked to the judge and we spent time talking, because he's the most knowledgeable man I know. And he's telling me, he went through this and he understands it. And he says, this is how you go through the system. And if that covenant is actually not registered anywhere other than the title company and Coogee County.
Is
And-
this disclosed to people?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying, you receive this, it's called a commitments package, and just like the term says, you're committing to something. You're committing to this agreement that we're not gonna do certain things. And like I said, if it was an exclusive CCNR, like your grass would be 2.5 inches long, you'll have green garbage cans, your house will only be one of 3 colors, then when you went to buy the house, you would not buy it. Same as if you say, you buy this house and you agree not to put a mobile home on it. It says it, it's flat. So what we have is somebody that's breaking this covenant. You guys are now aware of it. So the next time somebody comes and say, you received covenants, and they're gonna receive them. Everyone here has received them. It's standard operating procedure to receive these covenants. This is from the title company that sent these covenants to this family. And,
But they get a copy
everybody gets,
before.
anybody here didn't get
Yeah,
it?
can I say something? We thought it when we first put an offer on our property, and we were given 10 days when we put our good faith money on the property. They said you have 10 days to go over the CCNRs, and then if there's any questions, now's your time to call, find out if there's anything that you can't live with. And at that time, if you don't agree with it, or you can't live with it, then you can back out and get your good faith money. Then when we closed on our property, in there was a copy of the CCNRs, and we had to sign it. So that was part of our title. And I guess I've owned 6 homes with my husband, and I've never been told, well, they're CCNRs, but they're not enforceable. I've never heard that.
Yeah, we had to sign it.
But do civil.
Right.
It's not up to us to enforce ordinances and regulations. We don't enforce
No,
your
but-
private CCRs.
I just wish the title committee had said, or the realtor, or whatever, it should be somewhere along the process that people are told when they're buying a piece of property and they're CCNRs, that if they're broken, it has to be a civil thing. It would be nice to know this.
Yeah, that's,
We just recently bought our house and the property next door, so we're double in.
And the thing is, if you drive back in the 3rd edition, they're all custom homes. People put a lot of money into these homes, and there are 0 mobile homes.
Because of that, it's just an agreement until someone breaks that agreement. I was talking to this gentleman a minute ago, and I said, basically, there's an agreement that I'm not gonna hit on your wife, and you're not gonna hit on my wife. It's not a law, it's not enforceable, but it's an agreement, you know, it's just a given. This is a piece of paper, it's actually written, you know, it's written down. What's that?
I got one, yeah, join
Okay,
You
okay.
got another one there?
Do you have a photocopy machine, because I have it.
I brought
I
one.
have.
Oh, I have
I
one.
don't have a copy.
Okay.
They need another one?
But
But basically, they're not, you know, they're not super exclusive right It's checked off on your box as a trailer.
There's now different definitions.
My iPad here.
Oh, me too. There's, now you say trailers now. There's a
Your
difference
name,
between,
the definitions.
all right, well, there's a difference between a modular.
Oh, and I understand that.
Not in Idaho. Not in Idaho.
Well, a modular home is where
Is a mobile
the
home.
axles are taken off and it's attached
And we understand that.
to the ground, so there's
Not
brick property.
different, not in Idaho.
But anyway, basically, the thing is you didn't have a modular home checked off on your box, you have a trailer. And, you know, basically, you know, this guy can say anything he wants to, but the only thing I talked to, and I'm not saying that this is Cynthia, because she's an elderly lady, I've never met her. I know it's not that, and, you know, I'm not accusing this gentleman of anything, but he's a younger guy, and it's his grandmother, and he's basically gonna roll this in and use my grandmother needs to live here to get in. Once he's in, he's in. And once that covenant has been broken, then we've got no recourse. We have the next time, this is what everybody's nightmare is, right? This is a trailer. It's not a modular
well,
home.
we don't allow that in the city ordinance.
Well, gee,
Why?
thanks.
Well, yeah, it's coming back to pit set.
Because what?
That would have to be pit set, they can't set them up like that, because it's too old, it doesn't meet any of the building codes.
Yeah, I
It
know.
doesn't matter, we don't want a mobile
I know, but
home.
what it is the ordinance that you guys are enforcing is anything newer than 76, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so, and all it has to be is on concrete blocks with bracing to level it off. And it does not have to have skirting. So yes, this is what you're talking about.
No. Because
Your ordinance
because it's
reads
required
that.
to be pit set, it's required to have a 40-pound snow load, anything to that matter, there's nothing there that is even close to being within code. That's the exaggeration.
I know, and that's
You know
why,
it's an
I
exaggeration,
know,
so-
but what I'm saying is once this ordinance is started, I can come out here and I can build a 40-pound snow load over top of my single wide trailer, because there's no square footage requirements. It's not in our covenant, it's not in your ordinance. So if I want to bring out a single wide, that's fine, I put it over. I need a 50-pound snow load, I can build that. I mean, why not? The other guy just put one in down the street. That's the whole thing. If you don't get on this now, then I can do whatever I want. I can build, you know, whatever I want. And people here didn't agree to that when they moved in. And that's the issue, is if we get this started, no matter if this is a true thing that, you know, I want my 91-year-old grandmother to live near me, I don't believe that, but that's okay. You know, once this gets started, the next time that we're up here, we'll have no teeth whatsoever. I can take it to 16 lawyers, I can spend everybody's money, and we will be stretched out forever. And you know this in the legal system, everybody's dealt with the legal system.
You got a lady up here.
Listen, my question is, and I understand that it's not the city's, responsibility, but does the city have the ability to put a temporary hold on the permit, or at least until this is resolved, to keep this from happening temporarily until civil action is taken?
No, because if we did, that would make the city liable to them.
And we're basically.
Because what they're doing is they're following city zoning covenants and ordinances. So the covenants, the CC&Rs are in the homeowners association and those type of.
We don't have one, and that doesn't even,
Yeah, but-
we don't want one. You know?
I think you have to have one to
How can
enforce
you
it.
enforce
No,
it if
you
you
don't.
don't have?
But-
Because it's a civil suit.
But the
I'm
enforcement
assuming these
is through the civil proceedings and through a civil court with an attorney that's paid for by somebody, and it goes against them as a person rather than, Where if the city was to tell them, you can't build on your lot, then we violated their property owner's rights as a municipality, and we can't do that.
And you can't put a temporary hold on
No.
it.
No. Not as
Even
long
if
as
the,
they
even
meet
if the
our
land
ordinances.
comes to cover, that's what's wrong.
If they meet our zoning requirements and our city ordinances, then we have no choice but to, that would be like, what's a good example of something we really don't want to see, but it fits all the requirements. If it meets the minimum city requirements for the zoning ordinance and so on and so forth, then we have no choice. We don't get to pick and choose who gets to do that or where they get to do that. As long as it meets the requirements.
And like I said, I'm not here to say that you guys are in any way responsible. What I'm here to do is say, you see that, how people feel about this. You see there's a pretty good turnout, and that's because I couldn't find everybody at home, because you can't organize 30 people. You can't organize 30 families. I can't. I don't have the time. So that's why I want to kind of go this first go around. And like I said, if I go in there and I spend a few bucks and it's not successful, I got 30 other families that can keep this in limbo. And that's one of the bad things about the legal system, is I can keep pounding on you for eternity. You know, I can, not you, but this person,
Right.
until they either, you know, quit or run out of money. And that's, I don't want to do that. And I'm sending a letter, or we send a letter tomorrow to this gal, because that's the only name we have on, we got it off of your permit. And that's what we're gonna do, because we have to. Because like I said, I didn't understand, you know, me personally, I understand that, yeah, trailer devaluates your land, that's great, whatever, I don't care. But some of these, like I said, some of these people are investing in their homes.
I
know what I'm
don't keep saying
saying.
I don't care.
I know, I'm
Just,
just,
I
my
care.
personal opinion.
Well, then you can look at the street down the house.
You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
I'll start doing
Yes.
Your turn. Speak. Mr. Mayor, the point I'd like to make in this whole thing is the valuation of our homes is going to be affected. The valuation of our homes affects you as a city also. If the valuation of our homes go down, your taxability goes down. Then that should be important to the city as well.
It is important to the city,
Okay.
but
And
still, everything that they are doing meets the city codes. And the city codes, the covenances, I guess, are your only,
we understand that the civil action is what we need to do. But also, as Dan had mentioned, that we need action by the city to at least mention or notify these people before this building permit process gets going.
Or
Because
notify the
otherwise-
homeowners.
Otherwise, the valuation of everybody's home is gonna go down. And we as a group,
that's outside the legal capabilities of the city. I mean, for us to mention to them that there are covenances out there, when we know for a fact that there are covenances out there, that's one thing, but the enforcement of it and what's in those covenances.
We understand,
Yeah,
yeah,
and you could just mention it, though, I think that's what they're saying, is
Okay,
just,
but if they get this packet once before they purchase the property, they would know that. It's not up to us to mention it. There are covenants down the Spirit Shores that haven't been enforced for 20-some years. Just because you have them doesn't mean you're actually going to enforce them. And it's not up to the city to tell people, yes, there are covenants, and no, they're not.
well, what about informing us when somebody applies that does not fit our CCNRs in that division?
You should help us out with that, at least notify these people.
Well, why don't you assign someone to stop by City Hall every week with building permits?
Oh, we should. Oh, we got
No, we shouldn't have to.
No, hey, it's a solution, and I appreciate you saying that, because I know I talked to my realtor and several other people did too, and they said, absolutely, our values will go down tens of thousands of dollars. So we have a vested interest in it, so if it means stopping by every week, and then we just ask for new permits to go for the,
Yes.
Is this a new, well, it's going in there, I think it's.
It doesn't matter, that's what I'm saying, is anything said.
No, I'm just asking out of mind.
Yeah, and like, we called up Homeboys, and they're the builders on the permit. We asked them to call us back, And they didn't, because we said, is it a modular home or is it a trailer? Pretty simple question. Now they're feeling like they're gonna be liable, so they're not gonna say nothing. You know, I would love for someone to come out there and roll out a modular home. That's great. I have nothing against that. It's got a roof line, it's got a garage, it's a house.
No,
Trailer is not.
modular homes not.
There's some over
No, not under Idaho.
there. Okay. If
There's
it's-
a difference between modular and manufactured
Yeah.
and,
Still not.
you're right.
But
Not in the county.
I hate to really cut this short, and we will set and we will take all the public comments and everything that you guys want to give us right after we finish the meeting, but I still have stuff on the agenda that I've got to get to.
Okay, Mr. Chapin, you can
Can I have one question, Todd? Have you guys issued the permit already?
I believe so. I know that we have the application approved.
Has it been approved from the city standpoint?
Yes, it has. It's been paid for, it has not been picked up, we're waiting for an Idaho contractor's license number.
I don't know, what is it?
And they can have, I don't know.
All right, next thing on the agenda is the Park and Rec report. Jody?
Hello.
Hi.
We had a fantastic Winterfest, and thank you again for everyone who came and helped with Winterfest. We had 8 teams come out and play some games and had a lot of fun. After all the expenses were done, we made about $400, which is great. It was the second year now that we've actually made something, so that's wonderful. Youth volleyball is underway. We've got 8 teams this year, so we have more than we had last year. We're practicing over at the high school right now, so I'll probably head out in a minute because I have to close up that gym. Our first games are tomorrow. We're going to be playing games Wednesday nights at the junior high. We'd love people to come out and watch the girls play. They start at 6 o'clock at night. The wood structure at the park has been moved to volunteer park so that we can make room for the new play structure that will be coming in this year. Soccer registrations, we are done with the regular registrations, but I'm still getting a lot of late registrations coming in, so I'll give a better report on where we're at with teams next month for that. And adult volleyball registrations, we're still getting those in as well. So next month I'll have a better, both of those, we don't actually start playing games until April, so we got a little bit of time. Any questions?
Fantastic job. Winterfest was fun.
It was fun.
With no stuff.
Yeah, we had fun.
Okay, next thing on the agenda is the police report. Chief Hutchison.
Hello, glad you guys come to city.
Today is Chief Hutchison's 1-year anniversary with the city.
Glad to be part of this Fair Lake community. Thank you so much, appreciate it. And just kind of highlight a couple things in the report. So important, thank you for taking the time to group read my policy manual. I know it was like pretty painful, I'm not going to compare it to any occupations because I've done this before and I got trouble. So,
It wasn't nearly as bad as some other books that I
okay,
have proofread.
not too bad.
And so,
I saw, I had to go in circles, I was like, thank God. Took some heat off me, Jody did on this one. I'm not the best writer, I can shoot, but I can't write it well, to be honest. I just want to cover a couple things. Saturday, May 30th, Heather's been working great with Cuban Medical Center. We're going to probably have our second annual bike rodeo. Cuban Medical Center's going to come out, and it's under a grant that they get, so all the kids that show up will be able, if they don't have a helmet, we'll be able to issue them a helmet. Working with Bike Court Lane through Chamber of Commerce here locally. So we're going to try to have some technicians here, so if there's some issues with their bikes, they can be tuned up and fixed and stuff like that. So we're trying to shoot for May 30th, this is what we pretty much have on the schedule right now. So it looks pretty positive. We'll be down at Spirit Lake Elementary School from 10 to 12, it's on a Saturday. A couple hours, get the kids down, do a couple little things to make sure they got some helmets and stuff like that. Friday, we're trying to shoot for June 26th, the second annual movie night. Go down to the park, wherever the hot movie at the time is, we'll bring it out and everybody have a good time. I offered to the chamber if they would like to come down and run a popcorn machine, just offered the chamber, if they want to make some popcorn or something like that. So we'll see what happens with that, and see if they want to do that. A lot of things I want to thank. We had a big class with Park and Rec and self-defense class. Thank you, Jody, for all the help. And we had Officer Marshall in the back who came in on his time off to put that class on with help from a fellow officer from down south. 8 participants. It was really positive feedback. Everybody had a good time. It was a good time, but I just want to thank Jody and Greg for putting all that together for us and stuff. At this time, I'd like to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you for your time. It's been a great year. Thank you.
Okay, that's the last thing on the agenda. At this time, I'll make a motion to close the regular city council meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
How about when you're going to close? All right, now that the official meeting is over, as normally when we open the public comment section, anybody has any comments, questions about anything that's going on in town, feel free to have Chris, I see your hand waving in the air. What's up?
Since you guys voted me out.
Hang on, Chris, hang on.
I just wanted to let everybody out here know while they're still here, Spirit Lake will have an Easter egg hunt on Easter Saturday. It starts at 11 o'clock, and if you're 5 minutes late, sorry about that. Little kids in the park down here on Main Street, school-age kids in the big park. The Easter Bunny will be here to hand out bags of candy with the things on. We do not put it in the papers that we are having the Easter egg hunt, because there is a number of people that peruse the whole section of Cook County to get them all. So we try to keep this for our kids as opposed. So we'd love to have you come. That's Spirit Lake Visions.
Okay, Chris?
Okay. Ever since I was voted off planning and zoning last month, I have a lot of free time on my hands, so thank you very much for doing that. We created a Facebook group called State of the City, so if anybody has any questions or just if they want to form to collaborate on things, sign up for the State of the City Facebook group. The recording of this meeting will be uploaded there tonight, along with the synopsis. So I've collected some questions that I'm going to ask in absentia from some citizens. So this is from Frank Roberts. When your neighbors sit down. So he has a question. There's a large machine tearing up trees and disturbing the ground across the mill pond. Kootenai County has very stringent erosion guidelines, and it appears no erosion controls are in place. Who is monitoring the activity? The city, the county?
That's private property. And, you know, if the guy wants to go there and clear cut it, it's private property all day long. He is far enough away from the lake shore that he meets all the requirements as far as that goes. But that's private property, and he's clearing off the spot over there, parking his motorhome when he comes up to visit, so.
Okay. It wasn't my question, it was Frank's, but just for clarification, so there's no monitoring of erosion or
Not up to the city, that's up to the state.
the county? That's what he wants to know, who's the monitoring? The city, the county, the state?
He's not close enough to the water that it
There's
needs
no
to be
monitoring
monitored.
required.
He's cleaning up in areas that are back to park his motorhome on. And I think one thing that people in spiritualists forget is that he owns that property. He can do what he wants. Within legal limits, he can't alter the shoreline, he can't fill in the wetlands. But prior to that, if he wants to clear cut all of those trees, he is a business right to do so. He bought that property.
For responding to Frank's question. This is from Danielle Butler. Is there a leash law in Spirit Lake, and how is it enforced? On our group sheet conveys some stories of walking your dogs and being attacked by dogs that aren't on leashes. And now she doesn't even want to walk her dog because she's scared of having another encounter with these wild, feral, unleashed dogs.
There's no wild, feral,
And the kids go back and forth up there because at 15 miles an hour, 20 is not that bad. But at 25, 30 is horrible. I used to be a medic, and I know what a kid looks like after he gets hit by a car at 30 miles an hour.
If the speed limit's 25,
That's
we're gonna do
ridiculous,
35.
too fast for that neighborhood.
If the speed limit is 25, they're gonna do 35, there's something right there.
They're not gonna do
Yeah,
that.
but it doesn't matter if it's dead.
It doesn't matter when my child gets hit by a car.
Right.
I live in a neighborhood with 30, I mean, there's kids everywhere. You live in that
I
neighborhood.
live in that neighborhood.
And
I
so
agree.
you know, I mean, there was a guy the other day who was test driving a motorcycle and was
Yeah.
going so fast, I called the police department and said, you can park in my driveway. I'm a Bonner County Sheriff's deputy, so I know exactly what it's like to not be there when it happens. I was leaving my residence and I'm thinking if my kids were out there playing, I put an orange road cut out in the middle of the road and it forces people to slow down. Because I don't have any other recourse. 30 miles an hour, 25 to
Children not
25.
to play in the streets.
Where are you supposed to play? You don't have any kids, lady. Really?
I do too.
Well, bring them over and you take them play in the street. You know, it's a concern because it is fast. And not everybody goes 25.
Well, the whole deal with the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit is 25 is the standard for Idaho State in the school zone, okay?
You said 20.
25.
So 20 is something that the schools comes up with?
Yeah,
Okay.
the standard is 25, but even in a school zone. So 25 is really, really reasonable. But the excessive, because it went to 25, now the enforcement needs to be greater because those people who are exceeding that 25-mile-an-hour speed limit need to be cited.
Yeah.
We're never decided before.
So, and we've taken the speed trailer out, I talked to chief, we've got it out, so people are starting to see, they're starting to be aware of how fast they really are going.
The line of sight on the Delaware
It's zero.
is 0. 25 miles an hour, the line of sight on Delaware. We cannot do that.
Because of
We
the
cannot-
turns.
Right.
All of
Even,
that
not
is
even the
curves.
kids, whether or not the kids are playing out there, even the adults, we walk across the street. The turns on Delaware, the line of sight is not on that street without the sidewalks.
And our kids
It's not
play
safe.
together out all
Now,
the time. And
as a neighborhood, if you'd like us all to start throwing the orange cones out there, we can do it. We'll start letting it out.
Because that's what
It's not
I've
being
been
enforced.
I have
It's
to
just
do.
not the kids, there's a lot of elderly people that walk dogs along.
We have to walk across the street to get our mail on the line corner.
We all walk,
You know, so,
myself
I was
included.
joking about me.
so that's the concern, is that it went from 15 to 25 virtually overnight. And now,
25 anyway.
and everybody was going fast anyway, so now it's just a license to go even faster.
Right.
And not get caught for it, because in all reality, Spirit Lake with, how many officers do you have on duty at one time? 2?
Max 2.
Okay, and they're dealing with who knows what on Main Street and something down in dirt road land, and nobody's out there. We don't see them very often at all, or they do it, we see you guys at night, but during the day, right after work, in the morning, people go to work, it's incredible out there. I mean, I literally have to stand in the driveway and watch my kids play because of it.
Excuse me, I live right at the end of Middle, on Delaware, on Middle. And a year ago, last summer and everything, there was like 6 little boys on their little scooters. And they were coming down Middle Street and everything, and you know how fast those go and everything. And all they would have to do is run into Delaware with a car going this way or that way, and those boys would be toast. You know, they wouldn't have a chance.
At
But they were
25.
just playing, they were just playing, they were just on scooters coming down the middle because it's a hill. I've seen them come down with ice on there with their sleds and stuff. But on scooters and everything, here they were just all riding and they were turning around on Delaware and everything, but a car was coming. And that was at 15 miles an hour, when it was 15. And I've seen cars going zoom, zoom, zoom. Jeez.
I realize that there's, since it went to 25, there's more people that are speeding. And I've talked to the chief about, increasing enforcement on making it be 25 and not being, at 15 miles an hour, every single person in this room broke the law by speed, with the exception of maybe Chuck when he's in his little yellow Volkswagen. Because I walk faster than that car goes. But everybody else in this room is guilty of exceeding the 15-mile-an-hour speed. And what we were trying to do was we were trying to make it a more realistic speed limit for what the traffic was going. And we did traffic studies you know, we put the black box out, we monitored the vehicles. The 80 percentile of the traffic was driving in this range. They were driving 25. So what we did is we made that speed limit so that it was, because it's still 25 is a really safe speed. It really is. If you're doing 25 miles an hour, you have a lot of time. The streets out there are all 60-foot right-of-ways with 10-foot utility easements on the outside of them. You can see for a long ways on both sides of those streets. And that was taken into consideration also. Go drive down some of the streets, the residential roads in Coeur d'Alene, and go see what it looks like. They're 25 miles an hour, the streets are narrow, the kids play in them, you got cars parked along them. What we have out there is nothing compared to that. And I agree it's a change, and the change is hard. And when I look at the cars that are speeding out there, I think the same thing you guys do. You gotta knock that off. But the way to knock it off is to increase the enforcement before we have any issues.
Are we gonna hire more police officers to do that?
You can use my driveway.
Yeah, they can use my driveway anytime. Your driveway is right around the corner.
I'm next to him.
We
That
have to lock the corner, they could just sit there and they can see.
I mean, there's still a four-way stop out there that I hate to say it, well, it's a four-way, it comes up.
Four-way yield.
Yeah, it's a four-way yield, and some of them don't even do that. There's been a lot of things like that. Now, she just sit out here on a video camera and record the license plates as they roll on the street.
Well, I live,
Chuck?
you know where I live, and I stand behind my fence, and I watch people going towards Barbara, from east to west. And when they put their stoplights on at my driveway to stop at Barbara, tell me how far that is.
It's a long way.
That's a long way. And so you have to be going faster than 25.
The other thing I'm gonna say is there's only one way in and out of there, guys. So most of those cars out there, whether we like to admit it or not, belong to us. Almost every car out there on that road belongs to one of us. So if there's bad speed out there, maybe we need to look at ourselves.
Well, like I said, defending our police department, that our police department patrols these streets excellent.
Oh, I'm not saying they don't.
Okay,
But
because
what
that's
I'm
one of the
saying
first
is,
sounds.
when it's happening, nobody's around. And once some little kid gets run over, it's gonna be too late.
They do pretty good. I see they cover this whole city though, every one of their shifts. They cover this city.
Is there a voting process to reduce it down to 20 miles an hour?
What would it take to reduce the speed limit back to what it was, or to lower it to 25? Because it seems like the general consensus here is that regardless of the presence of law enforcement, or whether the speed limit is 15 or 25, it's going to be broken. So it seems like people are more acceptable of a 15 mile an hour speed limit being broken by 5 miles an hour versus 25. So the question is, what would it take to then go back to what it was before?
Well, like the mayor said, at 15.
But that was the question. The question was, what would it take to lower it back to what it was before? That was the question.
The city council and I changed the speed limit because of the monitoring of the traffic and the improvements that have been made to the streets. The old 15 mile an hour speed limit, I'm not sure that you could defend that in the legal system because it's so far substandard from the Idaho state codes, which we're supposed to follow, that it was put into place because of dust abatement. I don't know how many of you lived here when we all had dirt roads, but I'm one of those guys. It was put in here for dust abatement because our roads were crappy. They were dusty and they were dirty and they were full of potholes And every car that went by, you had to breathe that for the next 20 minutes. So the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit was put in place to resolve that issue. That's no longer an issue. We don't have the dust abatement issues. We don't have the gravel roads. We're improving the city infrastructure. And with that infrastructure improvement comes a certain amount of change.
So what you're saying is,
I don't think we can get it.
that
We
you're
can
not
get
sure.
it back, but I don't think we can maintain it.
Well, how come there's only a few roads that changed, was 10th Street back by us and Blackwell? A lot of these roads are still 15.
They are. And because they're a narrower road with a narrower right of way, and there's more significant site issues on those roads. It's kind of it's a little bit more defensible. I've been involved in a couple of them, we've gone to court because our ordinance said 15 and they were thrown out. Yes.
While I'm here, I'd like to thank the chief and a couple of his cohorts to come by and chase a moose out for me. They came back. I was
just as scared, I'm telling you.
We also had officers gather up in the corral bull in town too, so it was an escape. A bull.
Mommy can always take the donkeys down there.
All right. I think that's it. I hope we've done a reasonable job of answering your questions. And yes.
Maybe when you start the meetings and everything, you can speak up a little louder, so everybody in the back can see you here.
Usually I'm pretty loud and usually there's nobody